Hey guys, it's Matt. This week has been a little bit of a rough one for Dylan and I's schedule, so we didn't have a new episode to release, but as fate would have it, I was on another podcast called My Favorite Episode Of, where I was talking about a Christmas episode of the Goldbergs. So I figured, why not release that episode on this feed as well, since I know eventually we would have talked about the episode. And honestly, I opened up about the episode pretty emotionally, and I don't know if I would want to go through that type of conversation again. So enjoy. And if you like the show, go and subscribe to My Favorite Episode Of on any podcasting app. It's a really great show, and Julie and Kathleen do an excellent job hosting it.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Fafalius, and I'm the producer of Krista Makes a Podcast and the host of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
And I'm Matt Kelly, host of Horror Movie Night and the producer / the head of content for the Geekscape Podcasting Network.
Between the two of us, we have, believe it or not, 25 years of podcasting experience, and we want to help you start your own podcast.
We know podcasting, and we want to share that knowledge with you.
So whether you're new to podcasting or you want some feedback on your currently active podcast, we want to help.
Or perhaps you're just overwhelmed with all of the editing work. Well, we can help you with that also.
You can check out our website at weknowpodcasting.com for more information.
We're excited to help your podcasting dreams become a reality.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
It's another episode of My Favorite Episode Of.
With Julie and Kathleen.
And
Producer Matt.
I didn't know if we were going producer or not.
No, he's producer today.
He's producer
He
Matt.
hasn't really been fresh.
No, he hasn't been fresh
When
at
he
all.
acts out, that's when producer comes in.
Oh, I never even knew what the reason was.
Oh, yeah.
It's like your evil twin.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was the Laguna screw up, so you're a producer.
Oh, God.
Anyway, it's a Matt pick. And I feel like
College.
I feel like Matt might cry talking about this.
There's
Okay,
a
if Matt
100%.
cries, I'm walking out. I'm quitting on the job.
There's a 110% chance that I will struggle to get through a portion of this.
That last scene is the most Matt scene ever.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The whole episode, Matt picked this episode because it is about Matt. This is a very self-centered.
Well, I was going to
pick.
say, like, there are TV show characters that I relate to in some way, be it like I always really connect it with Zach Braff's character in Scrubs. I've always really connected with Eric Foreman in that 70s show. But the Goldbergs, Adam Goldberg is literally, I feel like I'm looking into a mirror.
And I second that.
Yeah.
With like growing up with you, like 100%,
Yeah.
that is you.
And it's not that far off from me now either, but it's definitely me at that age.
But it's definitely you as like a kid. Yeah, it's you presently and as a child.
Yeah. Well, and we'll get into that in the final speech.
Oh, wait. So this is season 4, episode 10.
Han, Ukkah, Solo.
Love it.
So I knew that I wanted to pick this. I was going to hold off until the next round of Christmas episodes, but for reasons I decided to pick it early. One of them is obviously that, you know, Julie's gonna have a baby soon, and I really needed Julie to be here to kind of back up some of the things that I say about why this specific episode is so special to me. It's actually the first episode of the Goldbergs I ever watched.
Oh.
By recommendation or by happenstance?
By happenstance.
Wow.
I was at my parents' house. I think I was living here at the time. And I went over and was just kind of hanging out, and it was on. And I actually remember Producer Bat did come out a little bit because I was getting so frustrated because I was watching it with my dad and maybe Julie, but possibly...
Wasn't me.
Okay.
No.
Maybe Jamie then. And the whole time they just kept going, it's you. And I was like,
Yeah.
and that's like frustrating anytime you're watching something, but like it kept happening. And then like the ending happens and I just started to really get like emotional. And then they were like laughing at me because I was getting emotional. So it's just like, this isn't going my way. But I immediately was like, I like this show. People had been texting me for years and they're like, you have to watch the Goldbergs. The Goldbergs is you. There's never been a show that is more Matt Kelly than this show.
Yep.
So my friend Lorelai had just given birth to a baby and she was pretty much just stuck inside with the baby all day. So I had a day off from work and she was like, hey, come meet the baby and we'll just like knock out a season of the Goldbergs. And that's literally what we did. I showed up at 9 a.m. We ordered lunch and dinner, and we just sat on the couch and watched a full season of the show.
Ordering out and watching a show with like one of your best friends is literally the best.
That's what dreams are made of.
It's like top 5 best ways to spend an evening.
Oh,
in my
it's so
mind.
nice. Like when the Christmas special came out of
Yeah.
High School Musical and me and you got drunk and ate buff chickies and
Yeah.
just watched that.
Of course.
It was just the best. Like I was like, I can't think of a better Friday night.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
But yeah, so I watched the show, and the thing with this episode is I don't think it's the funniest episode that they've ever done of the Goldbergs. I don't even think it's particularly the best episode of the Goldbergs in any major way. This is actually really when the show started to become far too self-aware, and I started to like lose interest in it. But there's a moment in the ending, and we'll get to the ending later, where I cried when I watched it. When I sat down and did the full rewatch of the show from start to finish, I cried when this episode came on again. And every single time that I've watched this show, I've cried. When I try to explain to people why it hits me so hard, I start to cry as well.
It's
Like,
going to be a first for the pod.
dude,
Tears.
there's going to be some real human tears by the time we're done this.
Yeah, because I was watching it today on my lunch break and he started talking about the scene that he's referring to and said he was starting to get choked up. And I was like, please stop talking. Do not cry.
Yeah, no, we'll get there. The thing that I do think is great about this show is that it really does capture the best parts of your childhood at times. Like the opening with him circling the toys in the
Yep.
magazines, like 100%.
Yeah. That was it.
Like
Yeah. Like we used to get the Toys R Us catalogs
yeah.
in the
Oh,
mail.
you just
The
I want this
nostalgia.
one.
Yeah, circling it all, writing lists. Like, I mean, we all are big on the holidays and we voice that very often on this podcast. And it's just like sad. Like, I think that's one of the things I'm like most excited about of like being a parent
Is having that.
Is having that like
The
little
joy.
kid being so excited like for holidays and stuff like that when it just like kind of goes away when you're older.
Yeah, it gives you that spirit back.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
But yeah, I loved the opening scene because it's like everyone did that.
While we're there, I just want to say I had thought I had seen many episodes of the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, I've never seen the theme song. Well, I've never heard this theme song. I've never seen this theme song, not once. Like, I thought it was a dinner table show. Like, I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's set in around Philly. They're always wearing flyer shirts and shit. Like, they're always, and I was like, why don't I recognize this theme song even for
Yeah.
1 second?
It's also very short. The thing
Yeah.
that I kind of hate about the theme song, and I don't know if it's mixed better when you watch it on Hulu, but like on the DVDs specifically, the theme song is mixed like 20 decibels louder than the rest of the show. So like I would like turn up the volume because I'm like, I can't hear what they're saying. And then all of a sudden the theme song would come on. I'd be like, Jesus.
I don't
Yeah.
even remember what was the theme song.
I don't know.
It's like it's like a keyboard going crazy, and it's basically just like, I'm twisted up inside just thinking of the things I need to say.
Oh my God, did I watch that? I don't
know.
remember that.
Well, it's funny because I have exactly 2 notes written down. I have a lot of stuff in my head to say,
Yeah.
but the one was never heard this song in my life, and the second one is, of course, you picked a holiday episode in May.
Yes. Julie said that as soon as I
So
walked
on
in from
brand.
getting a Starbucks.
So fucking on brand.
It's on brand, whatever.
I love it. I love holiday episodes always. And
Yep.
this one was, I thought it was really good. For the record, of course, I just said, I don't really watch the Goldbergs, but I thought it was so enjoyable. Like, the
Yeah.
2 older siblings to me have so much chemistry. The mom's comedic beats, fucking lit. I was like, oh my God, she is killing this. This role was made for her.
Yeah.
I've said before that the other reason why I relate to this show, and it's definitely not to this level, but Donna and Jim definitely have some of the traits and elements of the parents on the Goldbergs. Like, there are episodes where I'm watching it and like Bev's whole storyline of kind of pseudo lying to get her kids to do something that she wants them to do
is so much Julie and I's mom
Yeah.
sometimes.
I know, that's what I was just going to say when you said you turned into producer when you were mad that they were saying it's you.
Yeah.
Matt has pulled up multiple YouTube videos from the Goldbergs being like, Mom, you have to watch this. This is so you. So I'm like, calling the ghetto black, aren't we?
Well, usually it's because she'll say something and it's like, you sound exactly like her right
Well,
now.
the one thing that like, and this sounds like I'm like totally trashing my dad. I'm not. My dad is my boy. I
Yeah.
ride for him.
Shout out Big Jim.
But the one scene where he's like talking to the dad about the Star Wars Christmas special and he keeps pretending to fall asleep. I'm like, that is my dad. Our dad has probably done that to you on multiple occasions.
So this is the story that Dad loves to tell of me as a kid. This will start the descent into why I connect with the show so much. But I didn't have a ton of friends in school, especially in like elementary school and middle school. And when you would go into the library, you could like get out any book. And I got out I had read every single Peanuts / Charlie Brown comic book because I related so much to Charlie Brown. And I told my dad that, and he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, like just no one ever wants to hang out with me. And I just feel like I have like bad luck all the time. And he said, shut up, blockhead. You've got friends. And I was like, God damn it, Dad. Like that's just always been his humor is he like leans into it. And he loves that story for some reason. But like the other thing, this isn't in this episode so much, but early on in the series, the big joke is that as soon as the dad comes home from work, he immediately takes off his pants and is just hanging out in his boxers, which isn't so much our dad now, but like 5 years ago,
sure was.
There was definitely a roll of a dice if you came in the house if there was going to be pants on our dad or not.
Good for him. Fuck pants.
Just living his life, yeah. I think that this episode does capture a lot of great things about childhood. One of my notes is I want that Kermit the Frog trash can, which
Of course.
it also
Sure it's not in here?
No, not yet.
I'm sure he ordered it. Sure it's on its way.
Special ordered from eBay.
Yeah.
I've been bidding on it for weeks.
I do own the Star Wars Holiday Special because I'd heard how bad it is, and
It's bad.
it's like the first 30 minutes is just Chewbacca's family having conversations with no subtitles. And you have no
Oh
clue
my
what's going on. And you're just like,
God.
why is this happening? But everything that they say in there is 100% accurate. Where they're just
About
like,
the movie? I was
they're
wondering
just
that.
like, they're like, why was B. Arthur like a bartender? It's like, yep, B. Arthur just shows up and sings like a sexy song about closing up the bar to hook up with somebody. Like, it's just a weird, no one understands why it exists. Half the cast was like on coke when they were making it. It's bad.
And they said in the show it was before Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, this was literally like Star Wars was the biggest thing, and they were like, well, we don't know if this will continue to be popular, so let's cash in right away. So it came out like the same year as the first Star Wars movie. Little did they know it was going to be like the biggest franchise that has ever existed. But yeah, so that's like the setup to the Star Wars. I kind of don't care that much about the Bev and the two siblings storyline in this. I'm not
I
sure if
love
you
it.
get.
I think
Okay,
it's
let's
so
talk about
funny.
that for a little bit then.
I just loved it. I was more into that than the other one. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's totally fine.
What did you think?
I liked both storylines, to be honest. Like I actually was just gonna say, I think I would add this episode to like an episode that I watched during the holidays.
Me too.
Like
I
I would
agree with
watch
that.
this.
All the
Again.
singing and stuff is so funny and cute,
The
and the
sister
made
is
up
such
the
a
rapping.
good singer. She's the most beautiful voice.
She sings on so many episodes.
Yeah.
Like season 5, I think season 5 or season 6, the whole premise is that she drops out of college to just pursue her dream of being a musician.
Now,
And
are they
it's-
twins?
No.
No. Okay.
She's a year older than
Okay.
him, I think. And then like Adam's like a freshman in high school.
Got it.
I was looking for my girl AJ Michalka, but she was not.
No, she did not appear in this episode, which is wild.
Sad.
They're going on tour next May. Did you know that?
I already bought tickets.
Oh, I hate you.
Allie and AJ for life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 2 tickets.
But yeah, I mean, this one, I'm glad that I picked this one for a couple reasons, but one of them is that, like, especially if Julie hadn't really seen that many episodes, they don't really dive into too many of the side characters for too much. You get, like, the one bully that, like, sells him the VHS tape, but that's about it. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of, like, side characters. It's very family focused. But let's get into the elephant in the room for this. As Julie knows, I had a very, very close relationship with my grandfather.
Stop staring
And
at me.
I have to look at something.
Kathleen.
I'm
Don't
staring
look.
at the Chewbacca up there.
He's staring at me and I'm
Sorry.
laughing, so
Sorry.
this can't continue.
But I had a very close relationship with my grandfather, and he unfortunately died when I was in 10th grade. And my whole life, I've felt robbed by that. Like I felt robbed that like he never saw me drive. He never saw me graduate high school. He never saw me go to college. He's never seen me like pursue my dreams. He was always so supportive of whatever I wanted to do. When I wanted to learn guitar, he'd sit down and try to teach me how to play chords. Like when I told him I wanted to make movies, he would just buy me movies and show me movies and explain to me like how they were done. And like he had this big music room that was just records and instruments and old VHS tapes. And we would just sit there and spend hours. There'd be like a family party and him and I would just be on this patio for like 3 hours away from the party, just like listening to music, playing music, watching movies together. So the relationship that Adam has with his grandfather really captures a lot of that. And there's one line early on that I'd like to believe is how my grandfather felt about me, where the dad is very like whatever about the fact that Adam has like stopped caring about this stuff. And he goes, his childlike wonder is what makes him Adam. And that's why I love the boy so much. Mm-hmm. And like, that was like, that like gets me kind of choked up, but it's the final scene. Whenever I watch that, I remember watching it for the first time and I literally felt like my grandfather was speaking to me from the beyond and like encouraging me through this show to like not get so like tied up in the world. You know, that whole thing where he says like, never lose that childlike wonder. Like it's what makes you special.
I don't get it. How do you manage to always see the good in everything?
It's easy if you never lose your childlike wonder. Doesn't matter how old you are. People like us always have it.
Really?
Really. I need you to promise me one thing. Always hold on to that wonder, no matter what.
I will, Pops. I love you.
I know.
And like every time, God, here it comes. Every time I watch
I was
this,
like, you're holding up pretty well.
yeah. Every time I watch this episode, though, I feel that every single time, and there's such a mix of emotions that come from it, and it's not in every episode. Like, there's definitely episodes. There's episodes where he keeps showing up with a banjo and playing songs for him on the banjo, but like this specific episode, more than any episode, I really feel that connection every single time that I watch it.
Yeah.
And the actor just died this year. So like I haven't watched the Goldbergs in 2 or 3 years, but I feel like
it's still on?
Yeah, they're still doing more seasons. So I feel like I'm going to have to watch that episode.
You must.
Like it's going to be so upsetting.
You know, I don't know that whole story, but I knew that you told me like just the gist of it. You're like, this one hits for me, and I'm gonna cry. So I figured I knew how much your grandfather meant to you, and I was watching it and I was like, damn, like that. I mean, I've never even known a grandfather, and I was like, fucking hell, this seems lit.
Yeah.
So like I'm jealous of that, but at least you know.
No, you get the time, right? You celebrate the time that you did get.
Mm-hmm.
And like...
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you got 10th grade, I got 3rd grade.
Yeah.
So...
No, it's tough. And that's the thing. And it's like I never will not have a VCR because I have so many tapes of him.
Yeah.
Like and there was a day I found a box of tapes, and the one was, we used to do these we still do, but we would do these big family reunions. And when he was alive, he was like Mr. Cameraman, and he would walk around and film it. And he would just, he would be talking to people, or sometimes he would just sit and film and do like his own little commentary track to what was going on. And I just laid there and listened to his voice for 4 hours, like just listening to him talk and like thinking about him. And, I still, it's been almost 20 years. I've known him dead longer than I've known him alive, which is a wild thing to think about. But like, I still I feel so robbed of those things.
What side of the family?
It was on my mom's side. It's kind of why I think I'm very close with my mom, because when that happened, her and I leaned on each other a lot because she was a wreck and she knew I was a wreck. And I remember that funeral, I didn't go see him in the hospital. There was something I just could not do.
Sure.
In my mind, I was like, if I see him as he's fading, that's the only thing I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. So I actively didn't go, and I wrote him this like long note telling him how much he meant to me, how much I love him, how much I'm going to miss him. Because it wasn't like, oh, he might, like, it was inevitable. He was not coming out of that hospital. And I remember my mom telling me she gave him the letter and he kept crying. And then he told her, you have a really special kid and I hope he knows that.
Oh.
Pregnancy hormones, they're getting me.
Yeah.
You better stop.
when we went to the funeral or to the viewing, I was afraid to like go up to the coffin. And she's like, you have to go up to the coffin. You have to go up to the coffin. And he had my note in his hand in the coffin. And she said that was something he asked for, was he wanted to be buried with it.
Like, we're all sobbing here, Matt. Can you fucking not?
Oh, here comes. There they are. But like this episode, like I said, that scene just means so much to me. And like every time I think about it, it hits the same way every single time. That like I had this beautiful relationship with my grandfather. And I always feel like he's riding right there with me at all times. And I remember that the first time I heard that speech, no one could convince me that it wasn't him speaking to me from beyond the grave. It was just clear as day to me.
I cannot believe that this is happenstance, the first episode you've ever seen of the Goldbergs.
That's what I mean.
That's what I was just going to say. That was a sign.
Yeah.
That is a sign. I fully believe that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, it's the only way that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, the show, The Goldbergs, is a really fine show and I do enjoy it, but you know, we were talking about it last week when we were talking about like Modern Family, where it's just like you kind of see one episode of the Goldbergs, you get the vibe.
Yeah,
you know, it's interesting though. I was really impressed by this episode. Like, I thought it was really fast paced. I thought the jokes were on. Like,
yeah.
I was not like, okay, corny like Big Bang Theory, just looking for the laugh type like stupid joke. I was like, these are thought out, very funny, smartly written jokes.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
I think the difference, and this is coming from me, who's like very, very vocal hater of Big Bang Theory. Adam Goldberg is undeniable as a geeky, true to himself guy. And this is based on his true, like his life story. He wrote one of my favorite films, this film called Fanboys, which captures a lot of the same energy of something like Goldberg's, where it's very geek-centric, it's very funny, but it has dramatic beats. Big Bang Theory, when I've watched a handful of episodes, none of it ever feels like actual geeky people writing geeky characters. It just kind of feels like people who've been around guys who read comic books or like been around dudes who were in like AP classes
Sure.
and they're like, this is what I think they're like. But you watch like the Goldbergs and it's like, he gets the spazziness of being a fan so perfectly.
Yeah.
There's an episode I remember my mom called me and was like, you need to watch the opening of the Goldbergs right now. Like last night's episode. And Julie, you'll appreciate this. The episode is that it's his birthday and his mom for his birthday buys him a full-scale replica of Pee Wee Herman's bicycle, and he immediately runs upstairs and dresses in a Pee Wee outfit and is like pedaling around the block thinking he's the coolest kid, and it just keeps cutting from like his vision of what's happening to like everyone else just being like, what is going on? But I'm like, yeah, I mean, if my mom was like, here's the Pee Wee bike, I'd been like, all right, let me go get the Pee Wee suit.
Yeah.
Like,
That's hilarious.
Fucking dork.
I am a loser.
I love it.
That's
So
all
am
right.
I. My good God. That's the only way to be.
I feel like honestly these days losers are cooler than cool people.
Yeah, cool people. There is.
That's
cool.
what-
Cool doesn't exist.
That's what Cruel Summer's about, right? It's about how like she should have just hung out with the dorky kids.
Jeanette Turner.
Fuck Jeanette Turner.
Gosh.
On my birthday, Julie posted on Instagram and called me Jeanette Turner.
Oh, what a mean thing
I
to
know,
do.
I just thought it would be funny.
I got a few responses being like, savage. I'm like, I know, Brad. God, I hate her. Oh,
Yeah.
she makes me ill.
Yeah. I feel bad too because an ad or something came up where it was like Olivia Holt, who plays Kate, and the actress that plays Jeanette, like talking to each other like on like a video chat or whatever. It came up on an Instagram post. And I was like, this poor girl, like I can't even watch this because I hate Jeanette that I
Yeah.
won't watch
she's
this.
probably like the
and
sweetest,
she's an innocent
nicest person.
actress, young
Yeah.
actress, and I'm just like,
Totally.
but
So
yeah.
the only other thing that I had written down that I wanted to talk about, how good and underutilized of a Christmas song is Put a Little Love in Your Heart.
Okay, that's the other note I wanted to say.
Yeah, like-
How was that a Christmas
Yeah,
song?
I didn't know that was a Christmas
The
song.
only connection I can think of, I'm sure it's a reference to this because it's Adam Goldberg and he's a nerd. The movie Scrooged with Bill Murray ends with them all singing Put a Little Love in Your Heart.
Okay.
Mm.
And that was like an 80s comedy starring one of the Ghostbusters, like just based on everything about Adam Goldberg and this show, there's no way that that's not supposed to be like a subtle reference to it. But I've told our mom multiple times, like, you should really just toss this in one of the church services when you're doing like Christmas music. Like, even if it's just an opener, it's just such a like hopeful, pretty, uplifting song.
I love
like
it.
It's so pretty. And I've
it's
yet to
good.
hear a version that I don't love. Like,
yeah, I only love it because it was in the Supergirl, the Flash crossover, which I was obsessed with. Like, had that version on my Spotify playlist forever. I was like an everyday kind of song for me. But yeah, this was a good pick, and I enjoyed the episode. I'm glad. I agree. I think I believe in that kind of shit that he was talking to you.
Yeah.
I love that TV speaks to you like that because it does it to me too.
I mean, I
so.
think that's what it's. I mean, that's why we watch it, right? Like,
Sure.
I mean, I said it in the Winona episode, but in case no one listened to that, because they're like,
Nobody did.
90 minutes, Winona, no.
No shot.
Nobody did.
No shot.
No, we're almost at 100 on that one.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just Kathleen
just listening to it over and
it.
over again.
No, I haven't listened to it actually because
You're
I
scared of it?
re-edited it. Yeah, and I was like, it's too much for me. Like I'm have to wean myself off of Winona because
Yeah.
it was taking over my life.
But it is one of those, like, I said it in that episode, and I'll say it again, like, TV sometimes can express how I'm feeling better than I could ever put it into words, where I could be like, just watch this episode and you'll get where my headspace is, which I can't think of. Like, sometimes you can do that with a song, but like there's not a lot of other mediums where you can be like, watch this and you will fully understand me as a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And this episode of Goldbergs is pretty big on that list of like, if you watch this episode, you will know me better than you thought you knew me.
I will say the one line I didn't write anything down. I'm such an asshole, but because I was watching on my phone, I was struggling. The one line right in the beginning when he's like, "Stop what you're doing" or whatever, and he's like, "If I stop what I'm doing, I'd be doing more than what I'm doing right now." I was like, that is perfect. That is such a great line. It's so dumb. Like it would. He's like, "I'm not doing anything. Like I can't stop."
And his bedroom, Adam's bedroom, is just filled with all the things you love, like the Jaws poster, the Muppets calendar.
Muppets calendar, Kermit the Frog trash
Oh
can.
God, it's so good. I agree with Kathleen though. I think this was a great pick. I'm glad we did a little Christmas special in May. That's so us.
I know.
Once like 4th of July is over, that's when like full on fall.
Really don't need July 5th until like September 2nd.
And our house, I mean, as Matt knows, he's been living with us. Our house is very excited for Halloween Kills, and that's coming out this October.
Yeah, this house is stoked for it.
All right. Well, that wraps it up. Matt made us sob. I hope that you
Thanks,
guys
Matt.
sobbed. I was actually like, I couldn't control my tears.
Yeah.
I was really glad that Kathleen was talking.
I'm actually proud I held it together. You didn't
You
even
did.
hear. I didn't Kim K at all during this.
No.
I was expecting Kim K. I was a little scared. I'm not gonna lie.
No. I mean, I didn't know the note story.
Yeah.
So I think
didn't?
that's why it hit different,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I didn't know that. And I can't hear stuff like that. I still cry at the story. Oh my God, I'm going to tear up thinking about it. When you got lost in Conshohocken when you were a kid.
Yeah.
That makes me cry. That wraps it up for today. Thank you, Producer Matt, for being Producer Matt and not Producer Bat.
We appreciate it.
We loved this
And you.
pick. We loved how important it was.
All right.
And we love you.
Aw.
Love ya.
Aw.
Toonie.
Love you
Toonie.
Matt, you say Toonie before we...
too. Toonie.
There you go.
This has been My Favorite Episode Of. My Favorite Episode Of is produced by Matt Kelly as part of the Geekscape Network and hosted by Julie and Kathleen. Check out our show notes for all of our socials and email us at myfavoriteepisodepodcast@gmail.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting apps, and we'll be back next week with a new episode of My Favorite Episode Of.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.